You're getting a bunch of products in bulk if you're doing it right, super, super cheap. And these are top brands that already have demand, meaning you really don't have to do marketing. You really don't have to do much selling, right? You're just literally buying them, being patient, and that's something you'll learn in this business model right here, and then making a ridiculous markup in profit. Like I said, I bought all those in bulk. I think I got them for like 50 cents to like $1. I'd have to go back and look per product because I bought them in bulk. And then literally I resell them back on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari I list them for like, depending on the flannels, I think I list for like 35 to 40. The sweatshirts I list for like 65 and then slowly mark them down, and they sell for anywhere from between like 30 and like 55 bucks, right? So do the math. That's a ridiculous profit margin. Literally $1.50 or like 50 cents or whatever, selling them back for all the way up to potentially like 55, 60 bucks. That's a ridiculous profit margin. Now, obviously, I'm not keeping that entire difference, right? Because I sell on the platform, so the platform takes their fees, but that's still probably like a 40 or 45, maybe even 50, depending on where I'm selling it, dollar profit margin, right? Great business model, right? So why liquidation? Why are these liquidation companies selling these products? How do you know they're legit? What's the incentive for them, right? So I always go back to the Walmart example. So Walmart buys, I don't know, 1,000 of a certain product, right? And they stock their shelves with 200 of them because they only have room for 200 of them. The other 800 go in the back, right? And they estimate that they probably can sell those 1,000 within a month potentially. This is just an example, right? They do this all the time with all sorts of products. But let's say they order 1,000, they stock their shelves with 200 bucks, assuming that they're going to sell out of those within a month, right? And what happens is, let's say that they only sell 5 or 10 of those, right? Well, now they still have 190 units sitting on their shelves, 800 units sitting in the back, and they haven't sold even close to what they're anticipating. So because Walmart is, and this doesn't always happen with public companies, private companies do it obviously as well, but because Walmart wants to turn a profit, because a lot of times it is a public company, they want to turn a profit, they want to show as much potential profit as they want, and if they don't sell those for anything, right, they just sit in the back shelves, they're not turning any profit, they're not breaking even on any of those or anything like that, right? So what Walmart will do in that instance, for example, let's go back to the original example, right? Let's say they ordered 1,000 units, they stock their shelves with 200 units, they have 800 in the back. Let's say they sell 10 of those, right? So now they still have 190 on the shelf and 800 in the back. What they'll then do is maybe sell off 500 of those units knowing that they're not selling them as quick. Or maybe they'll sell off 800 of those units and be like, we're done with this product, it's not selling that fast. We just want to recoup some of our money and bring it back up so that we're not losing as much as we thought, as much as we are. And yeah, it's a learning experience. We just won't buy that product or as many into that product in the future because, you know, it's not selling that well, right? So what do? They sell off 500 units as an example to a liquidation company, 500 units for, maybe they sourced it for $3 a piece. Maybe they sell them back to a liquidation company for 50 cents a piece or $1 a piece. And the liquidation company makes money by marketing it up and selling it to us, right? So everybody wins. Walmart wins because they would lose the money on products that aren't selling anyway, right? In this example, the liquidation company wins because they buy 500 units at $1 a piece and then they mark them up for like $1.50 or $2 and sell them to you and me, right? So they win because they're profiting off those, right? And you and me win because we have the patience, we have the ability to buy those super, super cheap, not all 500, right? Maybe you buy 50 from a liquidation company or like 20. I literally bought I think 50 of those Bruins hoodies. I have a bunch of stuff that's all very, very similar. And it's all, you know, once you start scaling liquidation up, you're going to need to kind of, you know, expand. But if you have a lot of inventory, that's a good sign because that means that you're selling well and obviously your business is scaling, right? Then maybe you list all 20 units or all 50 units that you bought, and maybe they sell off slowly over the course of the next 6 months, but eventually, right? Eventually you're going to make your money back very, very quickly, especially if you're buying 50 units for $2 a piece. That's $100 that you're spending. As you sell off 3 of those or 4 of those or 5 of those for whatever you price it, obviously, you're going to have all your money back, and then you're not going to be into those products at any point in time because you already recouped your $100 that you spent on them. And then, oh, by the way, you still have 45 more free ones to sell. And that's exactly where I am with these Bruin ones and literally that entire palette of like basketball stuff and hockey stuff. That one was like probably one of the best ones I've ever sourced. So there's a lot of potential here with liquidation. Now, generally speaking, that's what you're going to learn. You're going to get a bunch of different liquidation websites that you can source from in this actual section here. It's going to blow your mind. You're also going to get to learn software that will help source for you on certain sites that have, you know, product identifiers on them. I don't want to get into it too much here because I'll break it down in depth in those lectures specifically. So primarily your main goal is going to be to resell these back on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari again, okay? So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm doing my own fulfillment on those. However, you can source liquidation to resell on Amazon, although there's only a couple lectures in here with the software because ultimately you either need to make a decision, right? You're not sourcing liquidation and then being like, well, I'm gonna list it on all 4 of them, right? No, you're making a decision ahead of time and being like, I'm going to source today for Amazon, because then you want to source for specific product listings knowing that they're going to sell a certain amount, right? So you're either sourcing liquidation with the software for Amazon, or you're sourcing liquidation to resell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and building a business like this, right? I do both of them, although I think it's a little easier to kind of get into the eBay, Poshmark, Mercari side of things, although there's great profit margins to be made on both sides. It really just depends on what you like. So I want to introduce you now to liquidation arbitrage, and this business model is also a gold mine, but for whatever reason, nobody wants to try it and everybody's sleeping on it. So I'd recommend that you test this out. Now, I found new ways to basically strictly buy products that you can resell back on Amazon, which obviously takes a lot of the guesswork out of it and makes it easier on you. We will definitely cover all of those here in this module and how you can do that. But if you're just doing that, then I definitely think you're sleeping on some of your potential profit margin. You should just buy liquidation pallets where you can get super cheap items, and then resell them back on the best marketplaces for you. But if you just want to go the Amazon route, obviously I'll show you how to do that in some of the specific lectures. This business model, you're going to buy a liquidation pallet. Now, I feel like the liquidation pallet term kind of, scares people off. All you're basically buying, all a liquidation pallet really is just a big box of items that retail stores couldn't sell in their stores, right? So, example, Walmart, Target, etc., right? So, Walmart has, 20 different potential shirts that they can't sell, right? And or 20 different, they ordered 20 shirts of a certain shirt, and they can only sell 5 of them, and then they feel like they can't really sell them that well anymore in their store. So what do? They sell them off to a liquidation site like we're going to talk about here, and then that liquidation site lists them in one of their liquidation pallets for a specific small fee. They just mark them up very, very slightly. So the great part about that is you're getting awesome items that are retail ready most of the time, and I'll show you how to select that on these certain sites, and you're paying like $1 per item most of the time to get that, which means there's super high margins on these. And you're buying, now there's a couple of downsides to it. Obviously, you can't just buy like one, like the coupon sites or like the rebate sites, right? You can't just buy one of these, you have to buy a bunch of them. But we're only talking, you can probably buy liquidation pallets for as cheap as like $80, all the way up to like a couple grand if you really want to. And obviously the more you spend, the better your margins will be. But like I said, I'll show you how to get, great deals where you're paying like $1 or $1.50 per item, and you're only spending like $100, so you can ease into the business model if you want to. I'll also show you how to do it with individual items on one of the sites. Then what you're going to basically do is obviously you're buying a liquidation pallet, which might be, 50 items. It might be 100 items. It might be 200 items, or it could be 20. You have the ability to choose which ones you want to buy. Then you're simply going to list all those items. So you can list them on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, or Amazon. You can list them on Amazon, and some of these sites you can specifically buy for Amazon, or anywhere else like we've talked about as well, all those other places. And then you get to make a lot of money because your margins are great. So what are the benefits and drawbacks of this business model? Well, the benefits of this are you have super high margins, you give super cheap products to your door, there's lots of scalability here, trust me, and you're getting a great return on your investment. For example, you buy a liquidation pallet for $150. Generally speaking, you probably resell that back online for like $600 to like $1,000 maybe. Now, I'm just spitballing numbers here. I completely made that up, but that's just an example. Those are the benefits. Now, one of the drawbacks that I forgot to list here is that you do need a reseller's permit. You need a state EIN and a reseller certificate, but that's actually really, really easy to get. And the way that you do it is you simply go to that state that you reside in, or you can file for one in a specific state if you live outside the U.S. And then basically what you do is you go to that state's website and you file for an EIN number, which is basically a business social security number. It's not, but that's the simplest way that I can put it, right? It's like a social security number for your business. And that's what you need to get these websites, but you can literally get that for free. And it's instant. So as soon as you file for one, they'll email you the number, and then you can log on and sign up for some of these sites. So that's the only drawback too, is you need that. And aside from that, you need to front the money clearly, and you have to create the listing sometimes, which can be annoying. So if you plan on reselling any of these items specifically on Poshmark, Mercari, or eBay,
You do have to take some product pictures and, maybe write out like a paragraph listing. But I mean, if you're not willing to do that for like 10 to 15 bucks every time, you can do it super, super fast. I've done, I probably listed out maybe 50 to 100 items in an hour, and just pop in the headphones real fast, take some pictures, and list these items out. And then obviously once those all sell, you're probably looking at like $500 or $600, selling over the month on those websites for about an hour or two of work listing. So it's very, very good profit if you're willing to put the work in. Now, also, you can buy some strictly for Amazon, like I'll show you, and that's a really great way that you can do it as well. And then obviously you don't actually have to create the listing. So that's just some of the benefits and the drawbacks. I highly recommend that you don't sleep on this, guys.